August 26 rolls round, of course, and you joined Oxford. Now, at the time with Michael Appleton manager, what were those talks like, and what was the selling point behind Oxford?
I think, to be brutally honest, I think the manager at Chesterfield at the time had decided he wanted to replace me, or he wanted someone else to come in ahead of me. And if I had offers to leave, he wouldn't have stood in my way, which was surprising and a little bit disappointing, because I'd actually been told that I would have, I would be part of the plans, and if I played well, then I would obviously be in contention to keep my shirt. And ironically, again, I played the first game of that season was against Oxford for Chesterfield. So looking back, I think maybe I played okay, so it was a bit of a trial, a bit of Appleton. Mr. Appleton obviously saw something in me. But yeah, so the opportunity that came up from that, really, I think that Oxford didn't start particularly well. I was obviously available without me really knowing it, and the conversation came from there. So I was more than happy to go. Oxford were a big club, and again, a bit like when I joined Chesterfield, they were on an upward curve. They'd just been promoted from League Two. They had a great, unbelievable squad, really, and for me to be a part of that was really pleasing. And the manager was great, and I remember that feeling of going and thinking that this was a proper club, and it was just, at that point, it was run correctly, and it was you just thought this was a place that is going to have success quickly.
Yeah, were there other offers from other clubs besides Oxford? Could things have turned out slightly differently for yourself at the time?
I think there was one other club that were going to do a permanent deal. I think it was Leyton Orient at the time. But they had this, it was around the time of the Italian owners. And there was a point when I was on the motorway and it was a case of, are we going Oxford or carrying on to London?
Wow.
Yeah, because it was deadline day, actually. It was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I got my own experience of a deadline day, a transfer deadline. But yeah, no, I think we decided that the situation at Leyton Orient was a bit unstable. They weren't, the stories you heard coming out of there at the time was, and it was just a bit of a leap of faith. Whereas this was a bit more of a safe option, just in terms of it was only till January. Again, I had that attitude of, well, worst case scenario, I go back to Chesterfield or whatever. But yeah, fortunately, I loved it, and it was really, really a happy time.
Yeah, when you signed, Oxford had a few defensive injuries, likes of Joe Scars, Curtis Nelson. When you first joined the club, when you were being introduced, what sort of role did you expect to have?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I came in and the manager said straight away, you come in here to play, and you just got to hit the ground running, really. I think there was one or two that he decided maybe were out of favour, and then they had big injuries to, like you say, like Curtis Nelson. And I went in and I think I played 10, 11 games in a row, and it started so well, clean sheets and good results, and just even living away from home was just a bit like, well, new town, and I was still, what was I then, probably 22, 23. So yeah, it was all new to me, and it was great. I did feel a little bit hard done by when I came out of the side at the time, but Curtis Nelson obviously came back fit, and I think we had one or two dodgy results around that time, losing to, I think we lost to Wimbledon on television. I think we're 3-0 down at half time.
Yeah, I was at that game.
So I think that wasn't great, quite rightly so. And then we went to Coventry, who were really struggling at the time, and lost 1-0. And it started so well, and then we had one or two bad performances, and I think the manager felt like he needed to make a change. So it was fair enough. But to be honest, I enjoyed it that much. I enjoyed training, and I enjoyed the people. I felt like I just, got on with it, and I hoped that I would get an opportunity later down the line. And then obviously that loan got extended. So yeah, it just carried on from there, really.
Yeah. Talking about the people at the club, of course, that season, fresh off the back of a promotion to League One from League Two, could you sense that there was, a good set of people and a good atmosphere during your time at the club?
Yeah, there definitely was. A camaraderie and some great characters there. Friends that obviously I did stay there for nearly 3 years, but really good friends that I made, players and staff and people that I still speak to now, from behind the scenes. But yeah, there was an expectation there. Certainly, the manager was made it clear to us around that time where we did have that 1 or 2 results. He just said, this is a sort of reset that he wanted to get promoted. And there was no doubt about enough to do that. And again, looking back, you probably do think that we did miss an opportunity, finishing something like 4 points off the playoffs. And you look at the teams that did go up. I think Millwall got promoted in the playoff final.
Yes, I think so.
And we one of the games that I did go on to play again, we beat them 3-0 at their place.
Conor McElhinney, didn't he?
Yeah, Conor McElhinney. Yeah. So yeah, it was just things like that. It was a great squad, great group of players, and we probably should have done a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean that season, of course, some great games. You're talking, your Millwalls. Of course, there are other games which you were within the squad for the likes of Middlesbrough away, Newcastle at home, the win.
Yeah.
Do you have any good stories from any of those times during that season?
Not really stories. No, it was again, you just sort of going along with it. I mean, from a personal point of view, it was like this almost. You do feel part of it, but you want to play, obviously.
Yeah.
And the manager always said to me, which I took confidence from, because he always said I was a difficult one in his eyes in terms of I felt like he wanted to play me, but there was no doubt that Curtis Nelson and Shea Dunkley were really top defenders in that league, and we were doing well during that period. So it was a case of what do you do? I can't do much more than I'm doing, but that's fine. I didn't really want to put loads of pressure on him, and he did give me the opportunity later on in the season when, unfortunately, it probably was a realization that we're not going to make the automatic promotion spots, and we are sort of fighting a losing battle to make the playoffs. So I think he gave me the opportunity to play sort of 6-7 games, whatever it was, and sort of prove myself in a way, which I was happy to do because I knew that my time was over at Chesterfield, and I wanted to, again, sort of a bit like a trial. I wanted to stay on at Oxford, and fortunately, that happened for me.
Yeah, well, of course, you extended your loan from what was an initial loan until January, all the way until the end of the season. When you're working with that group of players, and of course under Michael Appleton, was that an easy decision at the end of the day?
Yeah, well, that was it. It was working for him was massive, and again, I think that's a good sign because I probably only played 16, 17 games that season, and I still thought he was brilliant. I understood the decision really. Of why I wasn't playing 20, 30 games because there was players in front of me that were doing really well. But yeah, the way he handled it and the sort of the premium that he put on certain things, he was big on the group and the dressing room and the culture of the environment and the staff and that. He introduced us to sports psychologists, and he wanted the best for us, and he improved us at first and foremost. Like I said, it was just a great set of lads, and I didn't really speak to any other clubs because I knew that I wanted to stay there, and he made it clear to me with a couple of games to go that he wanted me to stay as well. So yeah, fond memories of that period, and then it changed pretty quickly once he left.
Yeah, you obviously signed a 2-year deal, Charlie, in that summer with Oxford. You obviously mentioned just there that Michael Appleton obviously had that conversation with you that he was going to extend your stay. Was there any other clubs sniffing around? Because there was a big rumour at the time that my team, Gillingham, were quite considerably wanted you. Talk about that period.
Well, there was no. I don't think there was any contact in terms of. I mean, I suppose, you know, agents do speak and things like that, and clubs speak. But personally, it was, like you say, it was rumours. I think Gillingham and maybe like a Scottish club as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was nothing really in it where I was like, oh, I've got to make a decision here. It was a case of, if Oxford are offering me a chance to stay, then I'm pretty much going to stay. Because at the time as well, it was, we knew that Shea Dunkley was leaving. So I thought that, you know, there's going to be an opportunity here. And I think there was. I think there would have been. So yeah, I was excited for that, really. I wanted to carry on playing for the club and sort of cement myself a bit more into the squad and play more games. So it was just a shame, really, that the manager who had brought me to the club and got to know me quite well left so soon. So, I mean, there would have been plenty of players who would have felt the same way, but it was just the fact that I'd just signed there and I thought this could be an opportunity for me. And it changed, obviously, when the manager leaves.
Yeah. Any great stories from Michael Appleton? Ones that you can say on camera.
Yeah.
Any weird team talks?
No, I mean, I always thought the way he spoke was really well. He lost it a few times. Shrewsbury away. Don't know if you were at that game, Jacob. Shrewsbury away. Unfortunately, I played right back, and I think that was the end of my full-back days. But we got beat. I remember him, losing it in the dressing room then, quite rightly. But no, I can't really. I mean, obviously, Derek Fazackley is a great character, and you talk about the players. You know, Ryan Ledson is still a great friend of mine now, and he was a massive character for such a young man. But John Lundstrom was there at the time. And we had a good group because people.
You had a very talented group. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to think the way of putting it as well is when you sign for a club, and there wasn't actually many local players at the time. Obviously, Sam Long, Josh Ruffles, who was still there, but the rest had come from afar. You know, you had lads from Manchester or Liverpool or Yorkshire or London. They all lived in the area and didn't really know anyone else. So, sort of socially, we had a good group as well, which is always positive in my eyes. So, a few of us lived close by, and we would get together after games or whenever we could. And like I say, we were good mates off the pitch as well as being good mates or being good teammates on the pitch.
Yeah, can I just talk about as well for a second? Obviously, Swindon were in the league at the time. 2 wins over them that season. As you were saying there, you know, a group of players which had come from different areas of the country. Did it sort of surprise you, you know, how spicy the occasion was when it came to playing Swindon?
Yeah, good point, because that was my second game. I think I made my debut against Rochdale at home. Liam Sercombe scored the winner. So that was 1-0, and I was just happy to win the game, keep a clean sheet. And then the second game was Swindon. And obviously, they say it's a derby, and I suppose, like everyone says, it's a derby day. This matters to the fans, obviously. But I was actually staying in a hotel across the road from the ground. And it took me about half an hour to get from there to the ground because of the police and the horses and the vans and just the fans being there so early. And the hostile environment I didn't expect, which was good. You know, I loved it. And obviously we had a decent team, and we beat them quite comfortably in that first game.
Obviously the following season, Charlie, leading up to the summer, you obviously had probably a great pre-season, felt fit, felt firing, got yourself injured on the eve of the new season. The manager had obviously gone by then, and it was Pep Clotet who would come in. Speak about that time period where you got injured, and then speak about Pep himself.
Towards the end of pre-season, I did have quite a good conversation with him. We played Leeds in a pre-season game, and I think we were doing like a like the players did presentations, and I enjoy those sort of things. So I got involved and got stuck in and did my bit for the lads, and I think he liked it, and we had a good conversation off the back of that. And he was saying how he'd already brought in Mike Williamson, already had Curtis Nelson, and that was it at the time. So but it was sort of us three really that were. Aaron Martin was there as well, but I did feel like I was ahead of him in that sense, and he made it clear that I was. So, and the way I got injured, it was 4 days before the start of the season. So whether I started or not, I don't. But yeah, we were playing Oldham away in the first game, and it was say it was on a Tuesday training session, and it was I blocked a shot off. Do you remember Xemi Fernandez, the Spanish lad from Barcelona? And I just blocked a shot, and my ankle just sort of went like that, and then as I landed, it stayed in the same position. So all the ligaments on the side just totally ruptured. So yeah, obviously massive injury. And at the time, the physio, again, good friend of mine, and he just said this would be sort of 6-week job. So I was thinking, oh God, 6 weeks, just done pre-season. And then the next morning he pulled me in and said it's not 6 weeks, it's more like 6 months. So
wow,
yeah, massive punch in the face. But there's not a lot of sympathy in football, and there shouldn't be really, because we all go through it. But you just have to get on with it. And the manager was really good to me then. He rang me on the days off, and he rang me when I was at home or in hospital, and he was he gave me a lot of confidence. But then obviously you're out of sight and out of mind, and he's got to concentrate on winning games for Oxford, which is quite right as well. And then, like I said, he'd already bought Mike Williamson, and then John Mousinho comes through the door. Nelson's still there, Aaron Martin's still there. So the numbers are piling up, and then they go through a bad time around Christmas time, and I'm just coming back into the fold. And in fact, I think Pep Clotet got sacked when we were 10th at the time, which was a bit crazy, really. But he left, so straight away, now a new manager's coming in. But that was sort of it. I think they'd made it clear that Derek Fazackley was going to get the job for a while and see how it was going. And there was rumours whether Faz would go for the job or not. And then they signed Rob Dickey as well. So I'm thinking there's about 10 centre-backs here. I've just been out for 6 months. And I probably did jump the gun, but I was desperate to play. And I was thinking, and I got on with Faz, and, I just said, listen, can you say that I'll play any games, really? Can you say that I'll be involved? And I was expecting him to say, I wanted him to sort of make my mind up and say, don't go anywhere, stay here and you'll get an opportunity, or just fight for it. And that would have maybe given me some confidence just to stick it out. But I was very impulsive, and I was led down the garden path with the manager of Port Vale, who kept ringing me, and I thought there was an opportunity there. And in the end, I made the decision to go to somewhere where I thought was really familiar and was going to be good for me, but it didn't turn out that way. I mean, I did play 10, 11 games, but it was a difficult time, and coming back from injury, I probably didn't, what's the word? I didn't realise how hard it was going to be to come back from an injury like that. But yeah, it did probably take me longer than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, how far in advance did you know about that move to Port Vale, or at least the concept of moving on loan somewhere? Because, I mean, you did make an appearance for Oxford against Chelsea in the checker trade that season as well.
Yeah. So I think that was Faz's first game as caretaker manager. And we were conceding a lot of goals, and I remember he rang me to tell me that I was going to play, and he was changing the system. We were going to a back three, and we hadn't really done any work on it. But no, it was great to play at Stamford Bridge, and great to be back playing for Oxford. And I thought, I didn't really look too far ahead. I just thought I need to be playing games this year because I'm going into the last year of my contract. But yeah, in hindsight, I think I was a little bit too impulsive and a little bit too sort of giddy to play. I should have just took a backward step and thought, listen, I've been injured, just ease my way back into training. But obviously with the loan windows and things like that, and like I said, I was getting told by the manager of Port Vale at the time, when I was playing for FC United, he was manager of Halifax, Neil Aspin, and he was always wanting to sign me there. So I just felt, well, this manager's wanted me for years, and now he's on at me again. It's a no-brainer to go back to Port Vale. But little did I know that it was a bit of a nightmare. So So yeah, it sort of, and then in that, while I'm away, Carl Robinson comes in as manager of Oxford. And again, I'm not there. I'm not in the shop window. So, and I've gone on loan and not really done particularly well. So it all amounted really that it didn't bode well for me and my career at Oxford.